He held in his pocket a note that no one else had seen. It wasn't a battle plan or a message of victory. It was a confession, written to the entire world. It began with the words, "Our landings have failed." This was the secret Dwight Eisenhower carried on the most important day of the 20th century. What kind of leader prepares for his own catastrophic failure? Not a pessimist, but a philosopher of reality. On the night of June 5, 1944, Eisenhower faced an impossible choice. The largest invasion in history was ready, but a storm threatened everything. His forecasters saw a tiny window of calm. To go was a colossal gamble, to wait was to ensure failure. Amid the immense pressure, he made the call, "We'll go." Then he sat alone and wrote that note, accepting sole responsibility if the invasion failed. The final words, "If any blame or fault attaches to the attempt, it is mine alone." In that moment, he revealed the first lesson in his code, radical ownership. But it was his focus, leading up to that moment, that reveals the second. For months, Eisenhower's life was an avalanche of urgent problems. Supply shortages, political squabbles, his own generals' egos. Any one of them could have consumed him. But he understood a critical distinction, a principle now called the Eisenhower matrix. What is important is seldom urgent, and what is urgent is seldom important. He delegated the daily fires and saved his energy for the one thing that was truly important, planning the invasion. He knew the specific plan was fragile. Famously saying, "Plans are useless, but planning is indispensable." The process of planning creates the adaptability needed to survive the chaos of reality. This is the second lesson. Find clarity by separating the noisy and urgent from the quiet. And important, his next challenge was not logistics, but psychology. His team was a collection of brilliant, difficult titans, Patton, Montgomery, D. Their egos were as large as their armies and threatened to shatter the Allied coalition. A lesser leader would have tried to dominate them. Eisenhower practiced a more subtle art. He listened more than he spoke, patiently steering titanic egos toward a consensus they felt they owned. His genius was in making the mission more important than any one man. He defined his method perfectly. Leadership is the art of getting someone else to do something you want done, because he wants to do it. The third lesson is to lead from the middle. Trade personal ego for collective victory. Years later, as his presidency ended, Eisenhower prepared his farewell address. He could have reflected on victory and prosperity. Instead, he gave a warning. He had seen the machinery of war up close, and he watched it continue to grow in peacetime. He cautioned the world against a new power, the military-industrial complex. He warned that this union of a massive defense establishment and a permanent arms industry could threaten the very liberties it was meant to protect. It took immense courage for a five-star general to critique the very system that gave him his power. This is the final lesson of the Eisenhower Code. True leadership requires the foresight to see the dangers over the horizon and the courage to speak a difficult truth. So, what is this code? It's the radical ownership to accept failure. It's the clarity to distinguish the urgent from the important. It's the humility to lead from the middle. And it's the foresight to protect the future. Eisenhower's philosophy was written not in books, but in the decisions that shaped our world. The challenge he leaves us is simple but not easy. In our own lives, when we face our own storms, do we have the wisdom to plan for failure, the humility to guide others, and the courage to consider the world we will leave behind?